Welcome everyone! Do you want to get higher elo in chess? Then let me help you with these chess concepts for intermediates. This is a series where I help my younger self understand what I did wrong in these games. When I was at 1000 elo, now I'm up to 2000 almost. And if you want to improve, then you must review your games as well. So let's dive into the game. It's at e4, c5 is a Sicilian. I play the bishop out. Knight goes out, and queen f3. I'm going for a checkmate. In case they don't see it, it's a nice little bonus, but unfortunately, all thousands basically see this and they defend. I bring the d3 pawn out to activate the bishop. This is basically almost a London, but the opponent after e6, bishop e3 gets the knight to e5. A little bit of an attack on the queen and the bishop. And the best move here is to, it's tough to see it. You have to play queen f4 to defend against this, to defend this pawn. But they may not take this bishop, they may play ace h6 and g5, trap your queen or something. But I don't do that. I go queen g3, attacking the knight, asking where it goes, without actually asking where it could go. It takes the bishop and I lose the pawn. Already a disaster in the opening, as I'm down a pawn. But what? The opponent lost the knight to a place where it could get captured, and I'm up a piece. Up a piece, I'm totally winning, but we see that this does not get easier. It does not get easier. I should take and be happy, just trade down pieces. Just trade down pieces when you're winning. Up a piece, you're winning. Okay, I want to go there and take this way, but he actually pushes. He actually pushes, and I have to go there. And when I develop the knight, he castles and I castle. Very nice. Very nice so far. He plays f6, and his plan is just to go there. And this knight move to b3 is a bad one. Because after e5, I move the bishop back. He plays b6. He activates the dark square wall of China here. Meanwhile, this bishop is totally useless. This knight is totally useless. This knight is also totally useless. And my rooks stare at nothing. So what do you do here? I actually tell you that knight to b3 was very bad because it is guarded. You can play b6 and the knight is misplaced. You should instead perhaps go forward to go to g3. Perhaps just bring the rook out. Tough to say, but when I play knight b3 and all of this happens, what do you do here? What do you do here? I don't really like a4 because it's no reaction. He plays a5 in the game. So what do you do here? How do you activate your pieces here? Um, well then, you could try to look at ways to activate the knights. To activate the knights, they are very passive at the moment. You just have to look at your opponent's moves as well. Where does the bishop go? This bishop is still useless as well at the moment. He doesn't have an open file to rook. He's just moving pawns. Basically, moving pawns. He's trying to move pawns. So we have to stop it maybe with rook h3-1. Stop this pawn move. If he goes there, he loses the pawn. So if he goes g5, you can stop g4 with h3. And okay, to make room for this bishop, you have to play king b1, bring the bishop back, play perhaps c3, knight a1, knight c2, knight a3, knight b5, and here you have the outpost with the knight. A very good square. So that's also what thousands should look at. Ways to improve their pieces activity. But I go knight a1. Yeah, I do go for trying to go knight c2 and forward, but there is just so many difficulties. Just a threat of it's not a threat. G4 is not a threat. G4 is not a threat because let's say I play c3, he plays g4. Actually, the knight is getting active again. This is now a weakness. So I would say don't react to the threats like that. Just evaluate and calculate. Tough to say, but you know. I play g4 here. It's better to not react to the threat than to react to the threat like this, hanging your pawn. And even then, when a pawn moved, it used to guard something. Did you see that? Did you see that after the pawn moves, the knight is now pinned to the rook? And actually, you cannot even defend the knight. You have to move the knight, but then you lose the entire rook, and that's bad news. I even go knight h4. It's the best move, actually. Why is it the best move? Because if he takes, I don't lose. I lose only a piece, not a entire rook. If I go there, then after this, he goes e4. But I go knight to h4. It breaks open the structure, and now I have moves with the bishop. But he stops them. He's too good. He sees the threat, c3, trying to get the knight out, but he plays d3, and the knight is basically doomed. I have to play bishop e3, but then there's e4. So how could I prepare it? I could play rook g to f1. I play this, plays e4. Um, you can play f. Nah, you have to blockade the pawns first. But I play b4, trying to open up on this side, but I shouldn't. I shouldn't because when a pawn moves, something is undefended behind it. Takes, 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 and these are now very, very delicate pawns. I activate the knight, which was my plan, but the rook gets in. Okay, now this is not taking the pawn. So what should I do here? It's tough to say. I have to look at it. Okay, you can trade pieces, but it's all lost after he takes this pawn. I have to go king b2 here and get active with the rooks. Rook f5. Yeah, he stops rook f5, but now there's rook f4, and if this, he loses the pawn. He cannot step. He has to go back here, and then the rook gets in. I go rook g2. It actually does nothing, which is a bad move, yeah. Now he goes to target this, so you should go rook c1, the simplest one. He could add more pressure, which is bad news. But maybe there is knight to d4 here, and your pieces get active. But actually, there is even this idea. Does it work? You could win a rook, but actually there's this, which he has to find. But there's also this. But then there's this. Uh, d2? What's the winning idea? Oh, rook c2. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. But these are the ways you could win. After rook a3, you have to move the knight. You cannot defend the rook. And you definitely don't want to make hope chess where I'm hoping that he will trade. Yeah, you just have to move the knight. That's the thing. That's the thing. That's the way you lose. And also, look for checks. They might win your rook. That wins the entire rook. Have to fight on. He has 1 minute and 21 seconds. You could flag here. This time is a piece. If time is not a piece, then game of chess will be boring. Rook g2, rook a6. and I'm trying to make a queen, but it doesn't work. So let's go for stalemate. Let's sacrifice all these pawns. Let's push all the pawns until they can move, and let's go for stalemate. He has 10 seconds. He has 10 seconds. I have to flag him. But sadly, he's too quick, and I get checkmate. Sadly. So the opening, in my opinion, was not great. Don't bring your queen out since they could be attacked. At this level, they don't fall for the checkmate, and you lose something in the center. This was a little bit optimistic for me, but the opponent was really, really good here. He really, really neutralized everything I had, creating this blockade, and it's only 0.4 for me, even though I'm up a piece. No activity. So here, play king b1. Let's say king b1, he plays king b1, he plays g5, then you play knight c2, you ignore everything, he plays e4, you go knight to e1, he goes f5. Sometimes these pawns become too weak. If you play f3, you'll have e3, so you must not move any pawn. But maybe you can push g3, but you just have to wait until he self-destructs, maybe. Like, sometimes these pawns just don't get through. Like, something like this. This is much better now. So, you don't really have to move pawns here, because otherwise you create weaknesses behind everything. I create weaknesses, my knight does not get to a better square even there, and I just create weaknesses, all it takes to win for black. And yeah, getting practice like this, you know, even in you review your games and it all seems impossible, you have to create impossible goals in order to get better. That's the real thing. That's how I got to 2000. It was basically impossible for me to get to 2000 in 2 years, but I almost did it. Just in 2 months, just in 2 years and 3 months, I did it. Even though I did not go to a chess trainer anytime. Even though I did not get a chess trainer. But anyway, try to just look at your opponent's pieces. Don't panic. But yeah, basically there was not much that I could do. King d1 and I could flag him, basically. He goes there and he loses basically a pawn. Tough to see a win here. So after this, he almost lost on time, but checkmate was here. If you like this, don't forget to comment, give me feedback on what could be improved on. But if you saw this, you're a legend, and see you soon.